There was a time when sitting behind the wheel felt a little like stepping into a cockpit. The dashboard wasn't just a place for screens and buttons. It was a collection of ideas, habits, and hopes from another era. Every knob had a purpose. Every light told a story. Some of these features felt comforting. Some felt futuristic, and some felt a little strange even back then. They reflected how people drove, how they thought about safety, and what mattered most at the time. Today, most of them are gone, quietly replaced by computers and touchscreens. But if you ever rode in an older car, you probably remember them clearly. They're frozen in memory, like photos tucked into a glove box. Today, we're looking at 10 old car dashboard features that are totally obsolete today. 1. The ashtray and cigarette lighter. Once upon a time, nearly every car dashboard had an ashtray built right into it. Right next to it was the cigarette lighter, waiting to glow red hot. Back then, smoking in cars was common and socially accepted. Automakers treated it like a standard comfort feature, not a health risk. The ashtray often matched the dashboard trim, making it feel permanent and normal. Long road trips were filled with rolled down windows and drifting smoke. The lighter wasn't just for cigarettes either. People used it to light matches or warm cold fingers. It gave the dashboard a sense of everyday realism. But as health awareness grew, smoking slowly left public spaces. Cars became cleaner, and attitudes began to change. Families didn't want smoke around children anymore. Eventually, ashtrays vanished from dashboards entirely. The lighter stayed, but only as a power outlet. Today, the ashtray feels like a reminder of a very different time. 2. The analog clock. Old dashboards almost always had a small analog clock. It sat quietly, ticking away behind glass. This was before digital displays were everywhere. The clock felt formal, almost like a wristwatch built into the car. Drivers used it to judge trips, commutes, and meeting times. Sometimes it lost a few minutes and no one seemed to mind. It didn't scream for attention. It simply existed, steady and reliable. Setting it often required a tiny knob you barely noticed. Over time, digital clocks became cheaper and easier to read. Then came radios with time displays. Eventually, infotainment screens took over completely. Now the time updates itself automatically. The old ticking clock feels gentle by comparison. It reminds us when time felt slower on the road. 3. The choke knob. Cold mornings used to start with a small ritual. Drivers would pull out the choke knob before turning the key. This helped the engine get enough fuel to start. It was a simple mechanical solution to a common problem. You had to know your car to use it right. Pull too much and the engine would sputter. Pull too little and it wouldn't start at all. The choke made drivers feel connected to the machine. It demanded patience and understanding. As engines improved, this feature became unnecessary. Fuel injection systems handled everything automatically. Cars became easier to start in any weather. The choke knob quietly disappeared from dashboards. Today, most drivers have never seen one. It's a reminder of when driving required a little more skill. 4. The AM-only radio dial. Early dashboards often featured a simple AM radio. The dial moved slowly, with a soft mechanical feel. Drivers would carefully tune in their favorite stations. Static was part of the experience. Local news, baseball games, and talk shows filled the car. Music sounded warm, even if it wasn't very clear. The radio connected people to their towns and cities. It was a shared experience across long highways. FM radio later offered better sound quality. Then cassette players arrived. After that came CDs, satellite radio, and streaming. The AM-only dial couldn't keep up. It faded out as technology moved forward. Today it feels charmingly simple, like a voice from another decade. 5. The mechanical fuel gauge. Older fuel gauges worked with simple mechanical parts. The needle moved slowly as gas levels changed. Sometimes it stuck or jumped unexpectedly. Drivers learned to read its personality. They knew when it was lying and when it was honest. Running out of gas felt more common back then. The gauge added a sense of uncertainty to every trip. It made long drives feel like small adventures. Modern fuel sensors are far more accurate. Cars now estimate miles remaining. Warnings appear before trouble starts. The old gauge didn't offer reassurance, it just pointed and waited. Today it feels almost primitive, but it taught drivers to pay attention. 6. The dummy lights. Many dashboards once used simple warning lights instead of detailed information. These were often called dummy lights. They didn't explain the problem, they just turned on when something was wrong. Oil, engine, or battery lights would glow suddenly. Drivers had to guess what to do next. It added tension to every warning. Sometimes the light flickered for no clear reason. People often ignored it and kept driving. Modern dashboards provide clear messages and alerts. They explain problems in plain language. The mystery is gone. Dummy lights felt blunt and unforgiving. They belonged to a time of less information and more uncertainty. 7. The trip odometer knob. The trip odometer used to be reset by hand. A small knob stuck out from the dashboard. Drivers twisted it to 0 before a trip. It tracked distance the old-fashioned way. Families used it for vacations and fuel planning. Salespeople used it for work mileage. It felt satisfying to reset. The numbers clicked forward steadily. Today, trip tracking is digital and automatic. Cars store multiple trip records. Some even log driving history. The physical knob is gone. So is the tactile experience. It was small but meaningful, a quiet companion on long drives. 8. The vent window controls. Older dashboards worked with small triangular vent windows. Levers on the dash controlled airflow. Before air conditioning, this was how you stayed cool. Drivers adjusted vents carefully at highway speeds. The wind rushed in, loud but refreshing. It was imperfect but effective. You felt the outside world directly. As air conditioning became standard, vents became unnecessary. Climate control systems took over. Airflow became quiet and controlled. The old vent levers disappeared. So did the noise and unpredictability. Today's cabins are sealed and calm, but less connected to the road. The vents remind us of raw driving days. 9. The radio preset push buttons. Old radios had large preset buttons. Each one physically moved the tuner. Pressing them felt mechanical and solid. Drivers memorized which button matched which station. There was no scrolling or searching, just a firm push and a click. The buttons wore down over time. Some stuck more than others. Digital presets replaced them eventually. Touchscreens made everything invisible. The physical interaction disappeared. Those buttons felt reliable and personal. They were part of the dashboard's character. Today they feel oddly comforting, like flipping a familiar light switch. 10. The speedometer cable. Feel old speedometers were driven by physical cables. You could feel slight vibrations through the needle. It wasn't perfectly smooth. The movement felt alive. Drivers watched the needle climb slowly. High speeds felt dramatic. There was no digital precision, just motion and momentum. Modern speedometers are electronic and exact. Numbers change instantly. The emotion is quieter. The old needle told a story through movement. It matched the rhythm of the road. Now speed feels more controlled, but a little less human. These dashboard features may be gone, but they're not forgotten. They remind us of how driving used to feel. Slower, simpler, and more hands-on. Each one tells a story about its time, and about the people who use them every day. If this trip down memory lane felt familiar, you're not alone. Let us know which one you remember most. If you enjoyed this rewind, give the video a like, share your memories in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories from the past.